bills are late, your Palm Pilot's missing, and you might be catching the flu. But your website is launching tomorrow. What's an entrepreneur to do? Steve Robbins of VentureCoach.com joins us from Boston with some tips on managing the juggling act of the new economy. Do you find that people are working longer hours at these new .com startups?
People seem to be working incredibly long hours. I think part of the whole .com culture has become, wow, we work 70-hour weeks. I know several companies that have official 6-day work weeks for periods of time leading up to product launches. In general, I think that extremely long work hours are quite typical for, so-called new economy companies.
Sometimes I wonder if people sort of feed into that themselves. It sort of like makes them feel more important that the workplace somehow can't survive without them.
That's interesting. I think that one of the things that we have that operates, especially in America, is that we confuse action with progress. And we really reward action. So people have this idea that successful people are running around all the time, doing stuff. In reality, I think what tends to be missed is that it's not just being busy all the time, but it's making sure your time is the most productive.
So how do you advise people to better balance work and personal lives, especially young people?
Oh, yes. Well, a lot of young people don't actually feel the need for a personal life, which is an advantage if they want to overwork themselves. But for the people who do, what I usually advise is I point out that work-life balance is in fact a deliberate decision that you have to make and commit to. So decide where you're going to draw your boundaries. Is it a certain number of hours a day? Is it a certain number of days a week? Is it a certain percentage of your time? And then make sure you do it. When you're at work, work, and work really well. When you're at home, strictly do home things. And if you need to, you can do something like carry a pad of paper with you, or in some fashion have some place to jot down work ideas, but don't obsess about them. Really give yourself quality home time and quality work time, and paradoxically enough, you'll find that the two will both go better when you enjoy them fully instead of kind of mixing the two.
Do you find that people sometimes resist that and that it's hard to break those habits?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean, people will say, oh, I can't do that, it's too scary.
Yeah. What do you say to them?
Well, first I say try it. And what I'll usually say, to begin with, set a generous limit, 11 hours of work a day, and then start working down. And concentrate on doing what's most important at work rather than what's most urgent. If you spend 5 minutes at the beginning of your day, make your to-do list, and then really ask yourself which of these things are critical and which ones are just maybe pressing, but if they don't get done, the world won't come to an end. And then do the ones that are most critical first, so at the end of the day, even though you may have stuff left on your to-do list, you can go home and feel like, I got the necessary stuff done, we're safe, we're going to stay in business, and we're going to keep moving forward.
I wonder if people are if the tide is sort of starting to turn, and if some people are sort of starting to feel exploited. And I'm thinking in particular of the recent unionizing efforts that we've been seeing at some of the internet companies like Amazon.com and eTown. Are you seeing that changing mood?
I'm definitely seeing a changing mood. Now that the promise of quick money and 18-month billionaires seems to be a thing of the recent past, I think a lot of people are suddenly saying, wait a minute, I don't want to just live at work. Now that it looks like I may have to be in this for the long haul, I want benefits, I want time to spend with my family. I want to be able to have a meal without scarfing down McDonald's in between website typing and tapping and things.
Any advice on how to approach your supervisor, your boss, about trying to make a more reasonable work schedule?
Oh, absolutely. What I would do is sit down and discuss what is most important, but what is most important from the company perspective, and then kind of map out, here's how much time I have, and what can we do within this time to do the highest leverage things, so that we can get things, so that we can concentrate on the things that the company will value the most, so that I can have my time off. Something else that I found effective actually is to schedule your vacations a year in advance and make sure that everyone knows and commits to the idea that if you have a vacation schedule, you're going to take it. Because there'll never be a good time. So if there's not going to be a good time, make sure you at least take some time for yourself so that you can survive and recover.
I think that's excellent advice, and indeed I did schedule my Christmas vacation almost a year in advance, so I took your advice before even hearing it. All right, thanks very much for joining us with very good advice, good sound advice. Steve Robbins, nice to see you. That's it for tonight's edition of Entrepreneurs Only. I'm Mary Kathleen Flynn. Thanks for watching. We'll be back tomorrow, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on CNN FN. Until then, good night from New York.
If you would like to purchase a videotape copy or transcript of this or any other CNN FN program, please call 1-888-CNN-FN-01.